Hello, friends. I hope you're out wandering through nature, exploring the natural world around you. Do you enjoy writing about your wanderings? Nature journaling is an awesome, fun way to remember all the adventures you have taken and how you felt during those journeys. If you're looking for some beautiful journals to keep track of all your wanderings, I have several available on Amazon, including some guided journals for children. Start your journey in journaling by clicking on the link in the show notes. Keep exploring the nature around you and keep journaling all your wanderings. Hello, friends. This is Paul, and welcome to the podcast. I actually was going to not have one today, and I apologize for even thinking about it. I know you look forward to it every week, but things have just been really hectic lately. The past couple of episodes you've been listening to were actually pre-recorded because I've been talking about a little while how we were moving. My wife and I decided to move from the country, the wilds of Arcade, to where we're trying to get into our hometown where we came from, East Aurora, New York. And we never found the perfect house there in our price range, and every time we did, we got outbid. And long story short, we did find some place right outside of East Aurora, and we moved in a couple of weeks ago. So we've been in our new house for 2 weeks, and I'm actually in the wilds of my own backyard, but it's going to sound a little bit different than it has in the past. And that's because my wilds of my backyard are a little bit different, or I should say quite a bit different. But for those of you who have been listening to the podcast for many, many years, okay, it's only been a year and a half, but almost 2 years. Yeah, we're almost at our 2-year anniversary. But if you've been listening for a while, you probably have an idea of what my backyard is like. I had, back at my old place, 12 acres. 12 acres that I kept mostly wild. I mean, my front of my property was unmowed, lots of honeysuckle, lots of brush. I did do brush hogging in the back of my property twice actually. Did it twice just to keep it more of a field, but I didn't go out there and mow it every day. So it was kept wild. I probably only mowed about an acre, maybe an acre and a half. So the back of my property was totally wild. And it was tall grasses, a little bit of honeysuckle, but that's why I brush hogged to get rid of most of that. And I was getting a lot of field species of birds. Had a lot of wildlife back there because they liked that wild, open, kept natural area. And I did have a trail that was cut, that I mowed around the perimeter of the property so I could walk back there. And I had another one going down the middle of the back of the property. So I did have a few trails, but it was, like I said, mostly kept open. 12 acres total. The trail going around the perimeter of the property was about a half mile long. And it was just absolutely beautiful. My house, I had an earth-bermed house. We built it ourselves. So we had an earth-bermed house, which means that it was, the sides and the back were built into a hill. So it was almost like living in a basement. So natural air conditioning throughout the summer. In the winter time, it kept warmer, so we didn't have to use as much heat to heat it up. We had a windmill, we had solar panels, geothermal heating. I built the place, my wife and I built the place to basically be environmentally friendly.
It was, the epitome of living a green life in a house. But anyhow, so we have moved, and we did downsize. We're in a split level now, no dirt on the sides. We do have a basement now, which we never had before, but our house was kind of like a basement. Environmentally friendly, we haven't been here long enough, but first thing we noticed was how hot the house was. We moved in and we had a week and a half of 80s and some 90-degree days, and it's like it was hot. And we actually did use the air conditioning twice, which in our old house we maybe used it once the entire summer. But this house is not as well insulated. I mean, it's not built in the ground, so it's, we're going to have to learn to live with that. I have installed a couple of ceiling fans already, and, I'm not an air conditioner person. I always get earaches when I'm in some place where there's a lot of air conditioning. So I don't do well with air conditioning. I would not survive down in Florida. So we're trying our hardest not to use the AC. Luckily, the temperature's cooled down. It's been nice. We've been regulating the temperatures, so we're learning. We're learning how to live environmentally friendly in an unenvironmentally friendly house. So we're working on it. But the yard, that's the big thing. Yes, like I said, in the wilds of my own backyard, you may hear some of the birds. But even that is different, and I kind of like it because now I can talk about to you. I can talk to you about, oh, well, you can do this in your backyard. You can do that in your backyard. I mean, I've always done that before. Some of you may not have a big backyard. And I've mentioned in past podcasts that it's okay. There's still nature in your yard, even if you have an apartment. Well, now I've got 0.45 acres, I believe is what it is. So it's a little under a half acre. So I went from 12 acres down to a half acre. Suburbia. You may be hearing in the background car noise, road noise. We do live, I'm thinking it's probably like a half mile from Route 219, which is a major thoroughfare, and between the 219 and us is another main road. It's not as big as an expressway or anything, but it is a well-used road. So in the morning when everyone's headed to work, it does get a little bit noisy here, with road noise, but it's just kind of a hum in the background. It's not like the racetracks or the wedding venue across the road that we had in our old place. So I'm getting used to the road noise. During the day, it's not bad at all. In the evening, it's not bad at all. It's just mostly I've noticed in the morning. So when I wake up, I've got the windows open in my bedroom, second-story bedroom. So it's, not as insulated from everything because it's up higher. So you are getting some of the road noise. I wake up, instead of waking up to the birds like I used to, listening to the birds in the morning, just a few cars going by, I wake up to birds and the hum of cars. So you may hear that in the background if I'm doing an episode from my backyard. But there is still stuff to explore here. I've been exploring already. Unfortunately, because I am in suburbia, I'm standing out here and I can see both my neighbors' houses within like 20, 30 feet of me. Behind me is a bunch of houses as well. So it's like I do have neighbors, I do have a backyard, but something I've noticed, not many people in suburbia here use their backyards. And every once in a while I'll hear the air conditioning hum. Yeah, not ours, but everyone else's. Everyone's got their air conditioners. And so it's like quite a change. But I'm sitting here right now. I put up my bird feeders right away. First day we were here, bird feeders went up. And it took a while. I mean, the first couple of days, didn't see any birds, you know. Now I've got some nuthatches just flew in. I've got a red-breasted nuthatch on my peanut feeders. I'm like 2 feet away from them. You know, they're like, oh yeah, this guy's cool. Okay, at the old house, I've got 3 nuthatches now. A red-breasted and 2 white-breasted nuthatches right here. And I could reach out and grab it if I wanted to. That's how close they are. So they took a while to find my feeders. I did notice walking through the neighborhood, very friendly neighborhood, very nice neighborhood. I can walk the roads. There's hardly any traffic on the roads. And everyone slows down because they know there's people walking. I mean, there's people constantly walking their dogs through here. There's people walking, you know, with strollers. People just walking. It's great. But I've noticed, you know, I've only seen like a couple of bird feeders. I mean, right now around my house, it's like there's no bird feeders in anyone's backyards. No bird houses either. So it's like the people don't use their backyards. It's weird. I don't get it. I'm outdoors all the time. We have a beautiful patio in the back of the house, which is one of the things that sold me. You know, it's like, yeah, I can spend my summers outdoors. But I put up my bird feeders. Birds are like, what's that? Yeah, I swear they didn't know what they were because they don't have bird feeders around here. So the birds, well, I did figure out why. I think a lot of people don't feed the birds, not just because they don't enjoy the birds, which might be part of it, you know, that they just don't have time to sit and watch the birds. But I also have a billion squirrels. Yeah, squirrels are everywhere. The gray squirrels. I have seen a couple of red squirrels, which I used to have red squirrels at the old house. And I was always watching them at the bird feeders. They didn't bother me, you know, just a few of them here and there. At one point, before we moved, actually, it seemed like they invited all their friends, and we had squirrels constantly. I was going through feeder like crazy. So I did have a small war with them, trying to keep them away from the feeders. But here it's like gray squirrels. Saw a couple of reds, but mostly gray squirrels. And they are at the feeders all the time. So I actually had to get, for the first time, squirrel baffles on my feeders. And I've been using red hot pepper on the feeders. And today I'm moving the feeders a little bit further from our patio because I have noticed in the past few days the squirrels are actually climbing up onto the awning of the patio and jumping off the awning onto the feeders to get around the baffles. And yeah, squirrels are pretty resourceful. They'll learn pretty quick how to get to the food that they want to get to. So I've been battling with them now, and I've been learning, you know, how to live in suburbia with squirrels. So it's kind of interesting. But I mean, we're getting lots of wildlife here. I had chickadees at the feeders, hummingbirds. I had to temporarily take down my hummingbird feeder only because I was getting a lot of bees at the feeders. There's a chickadee right at my feeder now, if you've probably heard them. But I had bees at it, so I wanted to take it down for a little while just so that we didn't get bees all over our patio. And now honeybees, they wear yellow jackets. So the honeybees I always invite. It's like, yeah, you're welcome here. But lots of different birds at the feeders. As I was walking around my yard the one day, we saw a rabbit. One night we were sitting out here, actually a couple of nights that we've been sitting out on our back patio, and I've only been here a couple of weeks. We've had mother deer with her 2 fawns. Another night we just had one of the fawns walking through. We had the mother or her father, I don't know who, but someone, you know, we had another deer walking through. I've had deer scat
droppings in the yard, a big pile of them. One morning when I woke up and was walking around in the backyard, we have seen rabbits. We have had a lot of wildlife here already. So even though we're in the middle of suburbia, we're not out in the country with 12 acres, it's still a lot of wildlife that we're seeing. The difference that I've noticed, though, is the birds, and maybe because, like I said, it's taken a while for the birds to understand that the bird feeders are here. But one thing I have noticed is I'm not getting as many species. But, when we were at the old house, a lot of what I was seeing was species that are there in the springtime, like the orioles and the tree swallows, and but they're only there in the spring, and then I don't see them all summer long. So, maybe next spring I'll get more birds here. But we have had robins. We had a hawk fly through. One day when my wife and I were walking around the neighborhood, taking our dogs for their evening walk, we had a red tail fly overhead. So yeah, just so much to see still, and I really was a little worried about that, and it makes me happy that I get to see that. And I don't have a natural area. Well, there is one small patch of long grass. I'm not sure it's on my property or my neighbor's, but he mows around it, I mow around it, and it's got 2 trees in the middle. I think it's just a lot of roots and such in there, and that's why he hasn't mowed it, and that's why I just let it go. 'Cause I'm pretty sure it's on his side. But there's a tree stump here. I don't understand. A lot of people here, they have a tree that died or something. I see a lot of tree stumps in the neighborhood. It's like they just cut the tree down and they leave the stump. They don't just grind down the stump and plant grass there. So we have a small tree stump. It's probably about, I'm going to say 8 inches out of the ground. So I was exploring that the one day, and I was seeing ants crawling around the rotting wood in the middle of it. I've got one of my favorite trees. I always love sycamore trees and London planes. Same family. London planes is a little more greenish in color. Sycamore is a little more white. And I've always loved those trees. I never wanted one on my property because the bark is constantly falling off, especially in the fall. You'll get all this bark all over your lawn. But I have one now, so I'm going to have to learn to pick up the bark. There is a lot of gardens around the house, all around the edge of the house. They have gardens, and it's not natural plants. It's all non-natives that they planted around here. So eventually, I'll start incorporating some natives into that. But walking around in the backyard, I've got some spruce trees in the back. One's not very healthy. I've got this London Plains tree. We have a couple of silver maples and a really huge oak tree. I believe, I haven't really investigated it too much, but just looking at it, it's a pin oak, if I'm correct. Like I said, I haven't investigated a lot. Oh, there goes a blue jay right out of the pin oak. But big old oak tree. And it's got these black stripes around it. I was trying to figure out what on earth. Oh, I don't know if you heard the woodpecker drumming. Yeah, we do get a lot of woodpeckers here too. Big black stripe around the oak. And there's another one in the yard that has a black stripe around it. I was trying to figure out what on earth are these black stripes around the trees. It's like they're painted on there. And I did a little research, and it's supposedly, I think he put some sort of like tar around it, or something that prevents insects from climbing up the tree. So he the last owner may have had some problems with insects getting at the tree and killing the tree, or because there are a few dead branches on it. I have found woodpecker shavings underneath that tree, underneath the oak. So there might be an area that's dying and is infested with insects, and the woodpeckers are at it. So I think he did that to prevent more insects from going up the tree and getting to the tree. There's a little area towards the back that has some blue spruce. So there's a little grove of blue spruce. They did a little area with a bench, which I don't really care for. The bench that's back there, I think I might turn that into a small Japanese garden sort of thing like I had at the old house, and put a few statues in there, and maybe in the future a water feature. But anyhow, there's a couple of spruces back there as well. I've got I haven't investigated all the trees, but there's some other trees up there. There's over to the side, I've got some other trees that I believe are pines. Like I said, I haven't investigated everything, and those are actually on the neighbor's property, so I don't want to be going there. I've gotten to know the neighbor already. Very friendly neighborhood. Had at least 3 neighbors come and introduce themselves the first couple of days. That I, haven't really investigated those trees a lot, so I haven't figured them out yet. In the front yard, I've got some trees up there. I've got a river birch. I've got a couple of pines or spruces. There's another maple up there, and so it's just so much to explore, even though it's just a half acre. I've already explored a lot of it, but not all of it. I am going to be exploring more of it, but I've been busy inside the house, getting everything settled and cleaned and in order, trying to get my workshop in order now and get the garage cleaned out. That's where everything gets dumped when you move. It's like, okay, where's this go? I don't know. Just put it in the garage. And being a hobbyist woodworker, I had a lot of tools, so, they're kind of piled in the corner, so I had to get my workshop in order. I just built the workbench yesterday and get all that and stuff, so I no electricity in the garage. So I have to run a panel, which is what I was doing yesterday as well. Put a sub-panel. So anyhow, you don't need to hear all this, but I just wanted to let you know I've been busy indoors. Another reason why I haven't gotten around to recording a podcast. So today's podcast is being recorded on Wednesday, the day before, which I rarely do. I'm going to have to do some quick editing on here and get it out there. But I always like to do a lot of research, and I have been researching a couple of topics, but like I said, I've been extremely busy with this move, and I felt that they weren't ready yet, which is why I don't want to do low-quality podcasts for you. So I hope you understand why I'm not doing a topic other than, hey, here's my backyard. So I want to put a little more research into the topics that I've been doing. I did have someone who sent me a couple of ideas for podcasts, which I really like the ideas, and I want to research those. Those will be coming out soon. But if you ever have ideas for podcast episodes, topics you want to listen to, please send them, email them to me. The email's on the website, or you can send me a DM. However you want to get them to me. If you have ideas, I'd love to, get out there what you want to listen to. Maybe you want to learn how I'm dealing with these squirrels, my battle against the squirrels, which may be a podcast episode. I don't know. Winning so far, I think. Well, actually, I think we're probably tied. But the main thing I wanted to do today was to get out there that, when I talk about, all these things that I do in my backyard, like bug nights and wandering through my backyard, seeing all the, plants back there and keeping it natural and,
doing nest watch, doing bird banding, all of these things that I've done for so many years on 12 acres. You can do just as much exploring of nature, just as much wandering through nature in your own backyard if you have a small half-acre backyard like I do. Even smaller than that. I have a friend who, she calls her place the acre, because that's all she's got is an acre, but she keeps it, a lot of it natural like I used to do. She does a lot of nature studies there. She does a lot of stuff in that 1 acre. Oak Moss Education. Look it up, Oak Moss Education. Very wonderful, informative. Mary Jo is the one who runs Oak Moss Education. Very close friend, good friend of mine. Wonderful person, very knowledgeable about nature too. So check out her website. So free plug for you, Mary Jo. So we have, I think I just saw a hawk, small hawk, maybe a Cooper, they're sharp-shinned, fly up into the tree, which is why the blue jays are getting a little noisy here. And there he goes, there's a hawk. Yep, flying like a hawk, just flew away. So blue jays will start quieting down. Oh, we got some crows calling now too. So anyhow, I didn't want to put out a low quality, not totally researched topic today, and that's why I wanted to get out there that even though you only have a small backyard, you too can explore nature. And you don't have to just do it in your own backyard. I mean, I love exploring my own backyard, but I'm actually a lot closer to a lot of parks now. Now that we moved to suburbia, I have Chestnut Ridge, like 10 minutes away from me. I have a little park called Birdsong Park, which is really beautiful. I did an episode there about beaver once already. Birdsong is like 5 minutes from where I am now. I've got a Green Lake, Yates Park, which is right in the village of Orchard Park. That's like 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes away. Knox Farm in East Aurora is about between 10 and 15 minutes away. So I've got all these new places to explore. I've got a rails to trails right down the road from me. I could probably walk there. There's just all these new places to explore. I'm closer to the city, closer to Buffalo and Niagara Falls, so there's places up there I want to explore and wander through. There's, just so much more. So you're going to be getting a lot of episodes out in the field now, new places to go and explore. So anyhow, I've rambled long enough. I just want to encourage you, get out and explore your backyard, no matter how big, no matter how small. And now you know where my backyard is, with what it's like compared to my old 12 acres natural. Now I've got heavily mowed around me, very few natural areas. There is one little natural area in the very back, that's the neighbor's property, but I'm going to let it kind of wander, that naturalness, into my property. And, that's going to take a little while for that to happen, but I don't know, maybe quicker than I think. So, anyhow, don't forget to support the podcast. Go to my Ko-Fi page. If you want to learn more, go to the website, thenaturewanderer.com. There are plenty of resources to explore. Always check the show notes. I always have a lot of links in the show notes to different things that deal with the topic. There's ways to support the podcast. Don't forget that there are nature journals. I have nature journals if you want to record all your explorations, your wanderings through nature. Also merch. I've got some awesome merch. At least I think it's awesome. So I try to keep it reasonable. There's sales going on now and then. Sign up for my Facebook or Instagram, and
I always put on my Facebook and Instagram, when there's sales going on, the merch store. I believe coming up, or it might be happening now, I don't remember, 15% off on all merchandise. So anything you put on there, 15% off, that's a pretty good deal. T-shirts, sweatshirts, yeah, cooler weather's coming, unfortunately, in Western New York here, but cooler weather's coming. Sweatshirts, dog bandanas, International Dog Day, or National Dog Day is coming up, so get your pet a friend, or really cool bandana merchandise with Nature Wander on it. So anyhow, check out the show notes, support the podcast, and get out and explore your backyard no matter how big it is, and above all, keep exploring the nature around you. Have a great day, everyone.
Did you know that plastic is made with oil, a fossil fuel that pollutes the environment? And did you know that only about 15% of all plastic is recycled into new products? Wouldn't it be awesome if we could live our lives without plastic so that we could stop harming the planet? Well, there's a company that wants to help you do just that. Life Without Plastic sells products that will reduce or eliminate your dependence on plastic. They have a large selection from toothbrushes to food storage containers to drinking straws, all plastic free. And it's reasonably priced. So what are you waiting for? Check out all these great plastic-free products and help save the planet. Just click on the link in the show notes to find out more and to start your journey to being plastic-free.